What's up guys, welcome back or welcome to the channel. If you're new, it's Sahara. Today I am turning Dollar Tree doll houses into a horror movie house. And in my previous video, I did the Sanderson sisters cottage turn from the Dollar Tree doll houses, and that paint ripped my nail polish off of my nails. So I was like, I'm not repainting my nails for the video, so you're just gonna have to deal with toe up nails. But anyway, it's not about that, it's about this house. It also looks like they're changing up the packaging of the dollhouse. They used to say dollhouse on them at the top, and now it says fashion doll. I don't know why would they change that, because it's a straight up dollhouse. So I'm going to be using 3 of them today. I'm also taking inspiration once again from the Tiana's Place dollhouse that I did, where I took apart 3 different dollhouses and like put them together to create like a more mansion type of looking house. I am of course going to stack 2 of them on top of each other, so I'm going to make sure to cut these little pieces off where you just slide the roof on, of course with the Dollar Tree cutters that I got, that I definitely need to get the ones from Walmart because starting to get on my nerves. My hands hurt after using these. I'm going to be cutting the triangular piece off of the other dollhouse, just that triangular shape to the roofing right there. The triangular shaped roof house, I already cut the front, not the door, but like the front part of the house off, so you're gonna have to do that as well, because that's going to go on a second level of this front of this house too, just like it did from for Tiana's Place. I could not get that out. Gonna do some more cutting on that other piece later so it fits better, but for now we're gonna go back to the other home and use those window triangular shapes off of that one and cut that out, because that's going to go on the sides of the roof. It's a lot that you have to cut out, but it's still going to come out looking good in the end. You want it to look like a mansion, and mansion has like all of those extra parts to the roof especially. And didn't I say my hands hurt after using these cutters? Look how red my hands are. Like, I need to go get the other ones. I need to stop that. Now, no matter how good your cutters are, I don't believe that it'll cut it down as smooth as possible. So I'm just going to take some sandpaper just to smooth those edges that I cut down where it'll slide the roof back onto the other part. Now, this is the only thing that I'm happy to say that I'm going to be sanding in this video. You guys know from my past, all of the doll houses that I've done, I always sand the front of it. I don't sand the inside, but the front of it usually I do. Here is where I said that I'm just gonna go back and cut a little bit of the excess off of it. I had to measure it up to make sure that it's going to stick right on it. You want to keep the bottom flap and the top 2 that are separated right there, but you just want to cut it closer to the house. It doesn't need to stick out as far. Okay, so I lied. I did sand a couple of these pieces down right here, because after you cut them, the edges are a little bit, is it rigid? It's not as smooth, so you just want to, you know, just make it a little bit smooth. Now I'm going to go ahead and glue all of the pieces together. And like I mentioned before, I typically don't like gluing it together until I start decorating it or painting it. But since I'm using a spray paint that's going to have paint plus primer, I don't have to work part by part on these homes. I could just glue all of these pieces together right away. And you can also see on the front of the house how far apart that piece is that I glued in the front, just to give you an idea. I'm also going to be gluing these little pieces right here from the inside the dollhouse. This is where the window seal, I guess the window seal is going to go, where I put the moss in. I don't know, I've done it before. For the roof, I'm going to be doing a little something different, and I'm also going to be taking those little people that are in the dollhouse and sticking them on the roof part. And then I'm also going to be taking the skulls, the skull heads and the bones that I used from the Halloween necklace from the Dollar Tree, and sticking that on there too. It kind of freaked me out a little bit because it looked like a church at first, and I was like, I don't need it to be a church. I need a little something more sinister. You ain't hear that from me. I love this part right here where I took the bones and put it across the front of it where it connects from one skull to the next. For the spray paint, I'm using the Krylon Matte Black paint plus primer spray all in one, and I'm going to be spraying the front and the inside of the dollhouse with this. And then on top of that, I'm going to be spraying the Mod Podge matte, and the only reason I'm spraying this is because I still need to touch the dollhouse and add, you know, all of the decorations that I'm going to be doing in the inside. So I went ahead and did all of that outside and off camera just to save time. But yeah, just spray a little bit of that sealant on top of it, because these spray paints for some reason will still end up being a little sticky even after it dries. So the warmth of your fingers, I think, just re-warms the paint up. You guys honestly have no idea how happy I am to have found some Halloween straws that are black and orange like this with the stripes. It's going to fit perfect. I think it was last year I did the Christmas dollhouse, the gingerbread house, and the Hansel and Gretel house, which I will pop pictures up because dang, I almost tore that dollhouse apart. I also used it for my Grinch dollhouse. Almost forgot to mention that one because you can see it on the side, but I did not use it for my Halloween dollhouses that included the witch and Hector from Coco. But we will do it for this one. And by the way, don't you just love what paint can do for everything? Like, you literally only have to spray paint or paint something and it just transforms your project. Now I'm just going to get started gluing them down. I wanted to size it up first, cut it, then glue it down. But unfortunately, it's kind of hard to lean this dollhouse up against anything because I had a few times where those little people at the top keep popping off. So I have to lean it up against that wood plaque that I'm going to be used to glue the dollhouse on top of. So I just have to, you know, kind of work with it this way instead. Look at all of these horror Halloween gibbets that I had to choose from just for this dollhouse. I was like, oh my gosh, I have to go through so many to figure out which ones I wanted to use. But so far I have these two Disney ones right here. I think that black and orange one is Disney. No, the orange one is right there because that's Minnie Mouse as a pumpkin. But I'm going to be taking the black and orange one and putting that at the top in the front where I usually, you know, will put a gibbet at. And by the way, if you don't know what a gibbet or these buttons are, they're just for Crocs, just putting it in the shoes. But I always use them for my dollhouse. I think I've used them almost on, I actually think I use them for every dollhouse. This is the other Halloween leather that I got from the Dollar Tree in my previous DIY, which was turning the Dollar Tree gift boxes into apothecary cabinets and notebooks for Halloween. I used the Halloween leather in that video, and I did say that I wanted to use this other one in this video. It just says bad luck, mystery, hocus pocus, and all of that. I am going to use this for the carpet. I did have the idea to use the keychains that I'm going to show later as the carpet, but I'd rather just use this. It's easy, it's quicker, and I didn't have anything else in mind. Now that I've finished all three floors, I'm going to be taking this gibbet that looks like Frankenstein's wife, and I'm going to be placing that in that oval shaped part of the roof because it's going to fit perfect in there. And I love that it's green because it's going to go with some other things that I'm going to put in there that are green as well. I was thinking about putting this skeleton on a door part where like the banners usually are, but it's not going good at all because that skeleton has the white around it. The white is just throwing it off. If it was just like black, then it would have been fine, but I'm not going to be able to use that. So I do have this other gibbet, and this is the nun, and that's what I'm going to be putting in the front of that section. I wanted a candle in there that lights up, but none of these stores, even online, have like small, skinny candles that light up. They're usually those circle ones that you put the batteries in. So that part is out of the question. I'm going to have to cut a little part from that window off at the bottom so that you can see the word at least none, even if you can't see the nun. I'm also going to start putting the moss in those window pane parts. And I'm using the floral moss that's brown. I think that the brown would look better than the green because I don't want anything that looks alive. For this next gibbet, we have Annabelle the doll. I also have some chairs in there as well. I'm going to be painting a chair, couch, and a bed that I'm all going to be putting in the dollhouse, but you'll see some of those other gibbets that I'm going to add to those later. Right now I'm just getting the painting out of the way. And I'm using the apple barrel paint in the shade Beachcomber Beige, which is the gloss one. Going back to more pieces, I'm going to add, I have Frankenstein, and I also have this mini apothecary bottle, potion, apothecary, something like that. I also have this micro figure right here. This is the horror one that I got from the Dollar Tree. I'm just showing it because that's how it's going to come with the Frankenstein one if you want to buy that. But I'm going to be adding some Mayron mixing liquid and also some green glitter to that little bottle. And I'm all going to be putting this in that section with Frankenstein's wife. Now I have these gibbets of Jigsaw. Look at little Tobin Bell. And I'm going to be gluing that at the bottom. I thought to glue two of them because it kind of reminds me of the movie, I think that was in The Shining, when those two twins was like standing there. And look at that, I just still couldn't let that skeleton go. I just had to try to find a place. He's not staying right there for long though. I just want to let you guys know he'll be going soon. I found this pin from Temu and it says, "Are you afraid of the dark?" And I love it because it looks like a little TV. So I'm going to be using that and gluing that onto, well, I could stick it through, but it's not going to work because I took the two pieces from the dollhouse and painted it. This right here it's the same thing I did for that bookshelf when I DIY'd that for the Hocus Pocus Sanderson Sister Cottage. So if you want to see how I glue these pieces together and painted them in a previous one, you can go watch that. Taking a little Annabelle now, and I'm going to be gluing her to that one little mini chair. I found gibbets for Chucky the doll and also his wife Tiffany Valentine that I'm going to be gluing to the sofa now. I guess that's like a sofa. And I painted that off camera the same color as well. These two next ones from Temu are animated keychains. I found this TV one of, what is that one from The Grudge? I forgot his name. Goku, something like that. And then this cute one that looks like a ghost dog with a pumpkin. And I also found this pin that I love so much. I'm definitely going to have to get me one of these. Just another one that does not go for DIY that I could just put on clothes or whatever. But these are VHS tapes for the Halloween horror films. Halloween, Nightmare on Elm Street, Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and Friday the 13th. See how I'm going to set them up to look like a horror movie TV room. So I did paint another one of these things from the Dollar Tree Dollhouse that I'm going to use as a stand for the TV. On top of the stand, I'm going to set the TV up there. And in front of it, I'm going to stick that safety pin with the VHS tapes through it so it looks like the tapes are under the TV. Ugh, I am obsessed. Starting off by gluing the bed on the second shelf where that skeleton's body is at because I found a bunch of different Halloween gibbets to go for those VHS tapes, and I'm going to put them in the order of the VHS tapes. So I have Jason Voorhees, Leatherface, Michael Myers, and Freddy Krueger. I forgot their names. I'm going to put them in that order. And I also found two Freddy Krueger. Well, there's a couple of gibbets of each character in these, but I found two different Freddy Krueger looks, and I love the one with the glove showing, but I also love the one that has the regular kind of version of him because it kind of looks like he's going to be looking down over the bed. Of course, if you've seen Friday the 13th, no, sorry, if you've seen Nightmare on Elm Street, you know that that's a nightmare sleeping horror-based movie, so he has to look like he's going to be looking down at the person from the bed. I also have these really, really cool knife gibbets that have horror movie characters' faces on them. If you look really close, you can kind of tell. And then I also have one of Ghostface, but he wasn't going to fit in here anywhere, and I didn't want to try to force it, so I'm just going to use it another time. When I tell you guys that for this Are You Afraid of the Dark set, that I was struggling to find a place for it, I was so upset. I was like, I need to find, it did not go good upstairs. And I honestly did not want it to block Jigsaw at the bottom, but it's going to end up going downstairs with Jigsaw because it's the only place that it's going to be able to fit. And anyway, since the dolls downstairs look like they're sitting on a couch, they could be watching that show. For that little person from the Dollhouse set, I did paint it, and I was struggling. I don't know what kind of colors I was painting it, but I kind of made it look like a duck, but we're gonna ignore that. I'm gonna still paint it because I didn't want it to just be like all purple or all pink. For this next one, this is a axe keychain thing. I think it's supposed to be like a keychain because it has a hole. You can make it as a keychain or a necklace, whatever you want to do with it. But I had the perfect plan that's not going to fan out. I was gonna take this shelf hook And this is the one that I also used in a Hocus Pocus dollhouse where I hung the say the pot roast when I hung the cauldron up for it. I wanted to hang the axe from this hook so that when it hooks onto the door and you go to open the door, the axe comes down. And I was gonna do that idea right there and just hook it up, but it's not gonna work because the axe is way too long, and I didn't want to cut it. Even though it's metal, I didn't want to cut it and risk it not looking right, so I'm not gonna be able to do that. I mean, this axe is so long. A lot of these miniatures and keychains are not the sizes that you think. When you want them big, they're too small, and when you want them small, they're too big. And like I said, I moved the Are You Afraid of the Dark down to the bottom. So I do have some more of those little books, those miniature books that I put in the bookshelf for the Hocus Pocus house. And I'm just going to put those at the top with Frankenstein. Is that her name? Frankenstein and his wife. And I'm just going to put them up there because they are green. I'm telling you, like, all of this green looks so pretty. And I love it because it adds pops of color into this kind of like dull looking house, since I didn't add any color really to the inside of the house. The color is coming from the characters. I'm just going to take some of that country gray paint, and like I did for a couple of the other houses, I just took some of the paint in a sponge and I dabbed it onto the house. It gives like an older type of look, like it's been sitting there for a while, things have been growing on it, moldy, even though I'm not going to be putting any more moss on the house. This is just what I'm going to be doing instead. And this is how it came out looking. I didn't want to add too much and OD on it because I did add some to the front by the windows, and I didn't like how it looked next to the black and orange straws. So I had to paint a little bit more black onto it. While I was off camera letting my camera charge, I did go ahead and paint the wood plaque. I've painted it so many times. I mean, you guys see me paint it by now, but I used the shades Territorial Beige, Apple, Barrel Matte, and I mixed in a little bit of the black to give me this darker shade. I thought it would fit a little bit better with the dollhouse since the dollhouse is going to be like straight up black. I also was a little annoyed at this keychain as well because even though it's the perfect size, it's still a little bit too big for what I was going for. I wanted to put it on the side of the dollhouse, but it does not look good with the dollhouse not being in the middle of this plaque, so that's not going to pan out right there. Don't worry, at the end you will see what I'm going to do, but there were just so many things that I wanted to use that I just did not get to use for this house. I also skipped out on gluing down a walkway, which is this one that I usually use. So I'm not going to use that because it's just going to get covered up anyway. From the Dollar Tree in their fairy section, they do have these two little like gate things. I forgot what they're called. This little like pathway and like a gate. Anyway, I'm going to be gluing that in front of the wood plaque, because this is what I'm going to use to connect the fence. And like I said before, because these things are like resin, metal, clay type of material, you do have to glue it with E6000 glue. So I'm going to glue this down with E6000 glue first. While I pushed everything up against that, I also found this little miniature of Georgie. Well, it's not really Georgie, but it's from a fairy garden set on Timu's site. And then I also found the pin, and this says SS Georgie on it. It's his boat with a balloon attached to it. So I am going to stick the safety pin through where his arm is at, just so it looks like he's holding it. I was going to glue the balloon to him, but I'm going to cut the balloon off and I'm going to glue it to Pennywise instead. I'm also going to take that E6000 glue and glue Georgie to that walkway in the front. I was going to glue him the opposite way, but I'm going to glue him facing our way, because I want you to be able to see his boat and the detail in him. If he was the other way, it would just be too hard. I do have this full body gibbet of Pennywise, but that's too small. And then I do have these just head Pennywise gibbets. So I'm just going to take one of the heads and glue it to the front of his full body just to make him appear taller and bigger. I was stuck on this one because I think it fit perfect, even though this one right here looks more like him. But I am going to go for this one since it looks more like him. Just glue it to the front, and then I'm going to glue the balloon to the front of him, and then hang the chain part onto his hand to make it look like he's holding the balloon. I do have this You'll Float To gibbet that I'm going to be putting in front of this fairy garden gate, and I'm going to glue it on there. It's going to be something like Georgie's looking at it and he wants to enter, and then Pennywise is going to be on the other side waiting for him. I am going to go ahead and glue Pennywise and a balloon to him using hot glue. You don't have to use the E6000 glue for the balloon part. I really like to know where the heck that just went. This looks freaking cool. So these right here are the keychains I was talking about earlier that I wanted to use as carpet, but I did not want to put them down because they're just too cute. They have a front and a back. Freddy Krueger says dream big and stay woke, and Art the Clown is on the other one, which is my favorite clown. You guys know that by now. I also have some more gibbets and stuff that I want to add, like this baby scarecrow, this orange pumpkin scarecrow, and these two kids that are, one of them is like a kid Pennywise and the other one is like a kid clown, so they look like brother and sister, so I'm also going to add them. We are back the next day, and I think my camera got some of that Mod Podge spray on it, but I'm going to wipe it off later. I didn't even realize it was foggy, but I had everything wrapped around the fence. Unfortunately, the fence, because I stuck it on there off camera with the E6000 glue, the fence did not stick as well. I don't think I cut it right, so I messed up on this one. That's what I get for trying to do it off camera instead of doing it on camera. But I'm not going to worry about it unless it decides to pop off. The E6000 glue is strong, so hopefully it's strong enough to where the fence did end up sticking at that it'll stay and I don't have to worry about it. But I'm just going to hot glue the house directly down to the wood. I'm going to stick the baby scarecrow onto that hay bale that I got from the Dollar Tree. The hay bale is the one that I used for Hector's house when I decked it out with that. Oh, that was my favorite dollhouse, I swear. I'm going to stick that in the front of this dollhouse. I'm gonna glue the two clown kids onto this bench that I got from, I think, Shein. I got it for one of my Turning Red DIYs that I did, the photo booth one, but I didn't use it, so I'm gonna use it in this one. It's either from Shein or Temu, but I'm pretty sure you could find it at any one of those. And I'm gonna glue them in the front of the yard, but I'm gonna change where I place them later. And I did move the camera so you guys can see a little closer. I was like, why am I so far away? So I had to change the direction of the camera. I'm gluing Pennywise on the other side, and I hate that you cannot see him that well unless you're like looking over, but you can see him through the little hole part in that gate, which is gonna be fine. I did forget to glue the welcome sign mat, so I'll glue that on a little bit later. Now this is of course that pumpkin head scarecrow gibbet that I'm going to be gluing in the front of the yard by the other scarecrow. I remember for that witch's house, I did like these little skull head statues to make them look like, you know how people have lion statues by their gate? I'm using the skull head at the top and two bones that follow, and I'm just going to glue them together to make it look like a statue, and then glue it right in between that fence and the gate, right where I'm missing some of the fence where I did say that I didn't make it, cut it big enough, but you know, it's all good. And then I'll end up painting it black. I am going to start gluing that floral moss in the yard around all of these gibbets. Just glue it with hot glue and then just stick it down everywhere. And this is the only place where I'm putting the floral moss at besides in those window seals. I'm not putting it all around the house because it doesn't need it. This house has more than enough going on. And I'm also not painting the windows as well. Not painting anything else. We're just going to leave this as simple as possible. I also still have a lot of those Dollar Tree rings, that's the spider and the bat. So I'm going to be gluing the spider at the top. I do have like one of those large spiders, but it would have been too large and in charge. So we're going to use this little small one. And then I'm going to paint that the matte black color and then spray this gold. It's a temporary gold hairspray that I'm just going to spray a little bit on the spider because it has the gold glitter. Then for the bat ring, I'm just going to glue it in the front of there. I felt like it was missing something right there. Could have painted the bat something else, but no. And I did say I was moving those kids elsewhere, so I am going to just peel them up. I'm going to glue them in the front of the fence, but I'm definitely going to glue that little ghost dog in the yard. I was like, I did not buy this for nothing. That ghost dog is going in the yard somewhere. And I definitely like it better in the yard because it has the black and orange to it, just like the house. So it fits perfect right there. And it looks better than having the kids in there. And that Minnie Mouse gibbet, I had to find somewhere to put that. So I just put it on the opposite side of the fence. Oh, hey, there's me. I took my camera off the stand only to realize how cloudy it looked. And now look at how much brighter and clear that looks. That's pitiful. But I am finally finished on this dollhouse. I hope you guys enjoyed. Let's take a look at all of the detail in the house. I really love everything. I'm a huge like horror and Disney fan, so to be able to put all of this in one, it makes me excited. It would just be nicer if you could like see everything without having to like peek around a corner. But you know, that's what it's all about. Surprises in around a corner. Creeping creepily at every corner. Is this reminding anyone else of Monster House? Like, I don't know if it's the way it's leaning or something. Oh, I didn't even notice that glue. But it's okay. You guys won't see this anymore anyway. Well, I'll probably do like a short or something on all of my dollhouses I've created this year as well. Because I did that last year. If you guys didn't see that short, I put all of the dollhouses I created last year all together in a short. So, you know, go watch that as well. I just love these like little animated miniature things that actually move and make noise. Whoever created the animated TV right there, they also had some different ones as well. I think like a paranormal activity one and something else. They were a genius. Please don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and I will see you guys in my next video.